One of these things I tell young parents whenever they mistakenly ask me for advice, like I know what I'm doing, but I have two sons, 12 and 14, and I warn young parents, your children, not because they're bad, because they're human, they're going to test you. For instance, in my home, when I put my sons to bed. Boys, go to bed, school night, that kind of thing. My sons have over time tested me, and I have failed. And this is how they do it. I'll put them to bed, and I'll tell them, hey, I don't want to hear any goofing off tonight. Lights out, go to bed, got school tomorrow. And then 20 minutes later, 30 minutes later, I'll be trying to wind down, and I hear them giggling, laughing, stomping. And I go up there, and I burst in the door, and I can't keep a straight face. I try to yell, try to get them back to bed. I think it's funny I can't keep a straight face. Well, they're not stupid. They pick up on that. And so now they virtually never go to bed first time. They have to wait until second or third time when they can tell I'm serious. Stress tested me. I failed the stress test. We don't like to think about this when it comes to nations, but nations do this to each other all the time. This is the entire history of the world, a stress test. Now, what are we talking about? I'm sure you've seen the video by this point in time. The Chinese spy balloon traversing clear from Alaska to the eastern seaboard finally got shot down. Okay? This is highly embarrassing for the nation. And we'll get to the why here in a second. But China, keep in mind, the military knew about this spy balloon long before you found out about it. You really found out about it because people started looking up and seeing it in the sky. Oh my gosh, put this on Instagram. And that's the reason you really found out about this whole thing. But you wouldn't have known otherwise. The military knew about it days ahead of time. Days ahead of time, the military knew about it. They talked to Joe Biden about it eventually. Keep in mind, they hid it from Joe Biden for days too. Joe Biden orders, or says, who knows if you can believe him or not, he lies about everything, says he ordered them to take it down.
Briefed on the balloon. I ordered the Pentagon to shoot it down on Wednesday as soon as possible. They decided, without doing damage to anyone on the ground, they decided that the best time to do that was as it got over water. I told them to shoot it down.
On Wednesday?
On Wednesday.
But the recommendation
They said to me, let's wait till the safest place to do it.
So just pause on that for a brief moment. They said to me, no, let's wait for a safe place. The president is commander-in-chief. You know what that title means, right? It actually doesn't have anything to do with political parties or Washington, D.C. Commander-in-chief. You know what that means? That means there is one man at the tippy top of the military high command. Not two men, not a committee. It's actually one guy. And when he says something to anybody underneath him on that little flow chart in the military, when he says something, no one gets to say no in a normal country, the way we are set up, the way we're supposed to be structured. I'm president, hey, shoot it down. No, okay, you're fired, you shoot it down. That's how that works. Except we're not a normal country anymore, we're a late stage republic. And China now has further confirmation of that. So why do you do a stress test if you're China? Why do you figure this out? Well, because we like to imagine this. This is what you like to imagine, and I like to imagine it too. When it comes to spying on each other and intelligence gathering, we like to imagine countries like China, we like to imagine they know everything. Oh, okay, they know exactly how many troops are here. They know these guys are here. This base is for this. This is their troop strength here. We like to imagine they know everything about that, and we like to imagine they know everything about the command structure and the command decision-making. Okay, this guy's in charge of here, he's good at this guy's in charge of there. But the truth is, yes, China knows a lot, and we know a lot about China, but that's not the way intelligence works if you know anything about it. What you get, if you're a foreign nation, because of your various spying sources, what you get are little snapshots here. We think there are 5,000 troops there, but there could be 10,000. We couldn't see anything. We think they have this, we think they have that. And what you can't really ever get, if you're one of these foreign nations, what you can't really ever get is the thought process of the leadership. It's impossible to get it. Your spy can't tell you how the commander-in-chief or the military leaders would respond if you do X, Y, or Z. The only way to find that out is to do a little stress test. This was a stress test from China. That's what this was. China sent a spy balloon to traverse the entirety of the United States of America, from Alaska to the eastern seaboard. I still can't even believe I'm saying that. And we didn't shoot it down. We failed our stress test. We already had a horrible test on the world stage with Afghanistan, internationally embarrassed. Now here's China flying fighter jets by Taiwan on the daily, figuring out exactly what are they going to do? What won't they do? Well, if you're China, you're trying to figure out if we're going to aggressively defend Taiwan, and then you find out you can float basically a hot air balloon at 60,000 feet from Alaska to North Carolina. What do you think we're actually going to do about Taiwan? Consider this the final stress test failed. I believe China goes in, and probably goes in within months now. Failed again. Oh, and why'd we fail, by the way? Well, there's a variety of reasons. And I think reason number one is probably worth asking. How much of the United States government, how much of the people who lead the country, how many of them are just flat out compromised by China, whether it be financially or otherwise? And that's a totally legitimate question to ask, especially on the heels of the president saying, I told you to shoot down the drone, and his military advisors saying, nah, actually, we're going to let her finish the course. And when you combine that with the fact that the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff is on record bragging about the fact that he called the Chinese counterpart and told him that he would give him a heads up before we attacked, maybe it's time to start asking if General Mark Milley is actually a Chinese asset.
As part of that conversation, I said, General Lee, there's not going to be a war, there's not going to be attack between great powers. And if there was, the tensions would build up. There'd be calls going back and forth from all kinds of senior officials. I said, hell, General Lee, I'll probably give you a call, but we're not going to attack you. Trust me, we're not going to attack you.
The chairman of the Joint Chiefs is making phone calls, telling his China, that's treason. He didn't get fired, he didn't resign. My goodness, he should be in federal prison for that. And now this same guy told Joe Biden, no, Joe, it's just a spy balloon. Let it go. Shoot it down in the Atlantic. No big deal. Probably worth asking. But what's the second reason? And this really is the biggest reason. How does this happen? Because this is a question I've heard all day long, for days now. How does this happen? How can we allow this to happen as a country? Jesse, I don't understand. Why would they let it get clear east? Why would they let it get clear east? Well, allow me to explain it to you. And this is going to hurt a little bit, but it is what it is. Let me ask you something. What would you have done? Right away. You find out about it when it's in Alaska. What would you have done? Hey, President Jesse, spy balloon up there, what would you do? Shoot it down, right? Probably already said that 3 times at the TV. Shoot it down. I'd shoot it down. Well, of course you would. But why would you shoot it down? Well, the reason is obvious to you. You would look up, you would see a Chinese spy balloon, get confirmation that's what it was, and you would immediately be mindful of your country because you love your country. You love America. You want it to be great. You want it to be safe. You don't want anybody, especially not the dirty Chi-Coms, to come step in here and step on our toes. You would be filled with patriotism and American pride, and part of that would be, no, they don't get to do that to our airspace, shoot it down. This would be a no-brainer for you. It'd be a no-brainer for me. But this is the part you have a hard time understanding, and I have a hard time understanding it too, but we have to understand it. You see, these people, the people who lead our nation, and it goes way beyond the president, the administrative state, much of the military leadership, entertainment, education, media, these people, the people who lead all of our institutions now, they don't look up and see a Chinese spy satellite and have feelings of patriotism because they're not mindful of America at all. Many of them hate the place, but even the ones who don't, they simply don't have that inside of them. There's no love of country anymore. They've been taught that it was evil and horrible for so long. There's nothing there. You look up and you see a spy satellite and you're filled with American pride and shoot it down. I want to credit MSNBC's Chris Hayes for making my point for me perfectly. Chris Hayes said he's digging real deep to try to get himself to care about it. You see, again, I want to credit him for the honesty. You look up and you're filled with patriotism. He looks up, he sees it. You know what he does? He looks at you, and he doesn't understand, why are you guys so bothered? I don't understand. It's just a foreign power crapping on our airspace. Why should that matter to me? It's just America. The leadership of the nation, Joe Biden included, Mark Milley most definitely, Chris Hayes, simply not mindful of the place at all. In a late-stage republic, the leaders of said republic only look at the republic as a place to be looted on the way out the door. All these people just simply look at America as a big bank with the security guards who just all went on lunch break at the same time.
Support the First TV today and get instant access to exclusive specials like Who is Ron DeSantis, the history of FBI scandals, and America's worst presidents. Visit thefirsttv.com/support or download the First TV app to become a supporter and start watching today.